An anthology of readings of Almighty God's words. You ought to prepare a sufficiency of good deeds for your destination. I have done much work among you, and, of course, have made a number of utterances as well. Yet I can't help feeling that my words and my work have not entirely fulfilled the purpose of my work in the last days. For in the last days, my work is not for the sake of a certain person or certain people, but to demonstrate my inherent disposition. However, for a myriad of reasons, perhaps a scarcity of time or hectic schedule of work, my disposition has not enabled man to get to know me in the slightest. Therefore, I stride forward into my new plan, into my final work, to unfold a new page in my work, so that all who see me will beat upon their breast and weep and wail unceasingly on account of my existence. This is because I bring the end of mankind to the world, and from this point on, I lay bare my entire disposition before mankind, so that all who know me and all those who do not may feast their eyes and see that I have indeed come to the human world, have come onto the earth where all things multiply. This is my plan. It is my sole confession since my creation of mankind. I wish that you could give your undivided attention to my every move, for my rod once again presses close to mankind, to all those who oppose me. Together with the heavens, I begin the work that I must do. And so I thread my way through the streams of people and move between heaven and earth without anyone ever perceiving my movements or taking notice of my words. Therefore, my plan is still progressing smoothly. It is only that all your senses have become so benumbed that you do not know the steps of my work in the slightest. But there will surely come a day when you will realize my intention. Today, I live together with you and suffer together with you. I have long since understood the attitude that mankind bears toward me. I do not wish to make further clarification, much less give further instances of a painful subject in order to shame you. My only wish is that you keep all that you have done in your hearts, so that we may tally our accounts on the day when we meet again. I do not wish to falsely accuse anyone among you, for I have always acted justly, fairly, and with honor. Of course, I also wish that you could be open and magnanimous, and do nothing that goes against heaven and earth and your conscience. This is the only thing that I ask of you. Many people feel restless and ill at ease because they have committed atrocious wrongs, and many feel ashamed of themselves because they have never performed a single good deed. Yet there are also many who, far from feeling disgraced by their sins, go from bad to worse, completely ripping off the mask concealing their hideous features, which had yet to be fully exposed, to test my disposition. I pay no mind to, nor do I take careful notice of, the actions of any person. Rather, I do the work that I ought to do, be it gathering information, or roaming the land, or doing something that interests me. At key times, I will proceed with my work among men as originally planned, not a second too late or too soon. and with both ease and dispatch. However, with every step in my work, some men are cast aside, for I despise their flattering ways and their feigned subservience. Those who are abhorrent to me will certainly be forsaken, whether intentionally or unintentionally. In short, I want all those whom I despise to be far away from me. Needless to say, I will not spare the wicked ones remaining in my house. Because the day of man's punishment is near, I am not in a hurry to cast out all those despicable souls, for I have a plan of my own. Now is the time I determine the ending for each person, not the stage at which I began to work man. I write down in my record book, one by one, the words and actions of each person, as well as their path in following me, their inherent characteristics, and their final performance. In this way, no manner of man shall escape my hand, and all shall be with their own kind as I assign. I decide the destination of each person not on the basis of age, seniority, amount of suffering, and least of all, the degree to which they invite pity, but according to whether they possess the truth. There is no other choice but this. You must realize that all those who do not follow the will of God will be punished. This is an immutable fact. Therefore, all those who are punished are so punished for the righteousness of God and as retribution for their numerous evil acts. I have not made a single change to my plan since its inception. It is only that, as far as man is concerned, those to whom I direct my words seem to be diminishing in number, as are those of whom I truly approve. However, I maintain that my plan has never changed. Rather, it is the faith and love of man that are ever changing, ever waning, to the extent that it is possible for each man to go from fawning over me to being cold toward me, or even casting me out. My attitude toward you will be neither hot nor cold until I feel disgust and abhorrence, and finally mete out punishment. However, on the day of your punishment, I will still see you, but you shall no longer be able to see me. As life among you already has become tedious and dull to me, so, needless to say, I have chosen different surroundings in which to live, the better to avoid the hurt of your malicious words and steer clear of your unbearably sordid behavior, that you may no longer fool me or treat me in a perfunctory manner. Before I leave you, I must still exhort you to refrain from doing that which is not in accordance with the truth. Rather, you should do that which is pleasing to all, that which brings benefit to all men, and that which benefits your own destination. Otherwise, the one who suffers in the midst of disaster will be none other than yourself. My mercy is expressed upon those who love me and deny themselves, and the punishment visited upon the wicked is precisely proof of my righteous disposition, and even more, testimony to my wrath. When disaster comes, famine and plague will befall all those who oppose me, and they will weep. Those who have committed all manner of wickedness, but who have followed me for many years, will not escape indictment. They too, falling into disaster, the like of which has seldom been seen throughout the ages, will come to live in a constant state of panic and fear. and those of my followers who have shown loyalty to me alone shall rejoice and applaud my might. They will experience ineffable contentment and live in a joy that I have never before bestowed upon mankind. For I treasure the good deeds of men and abhor their evil deeds. Since I first began to lead mankind, I have been eagerly hoping to gain a group of men of the same mind with me. I have never forgotten those who are not of the same mind with me. I have held them with loathing in my heart, awaiting only the opportunity to visit my retribution on them, which will give me relish to see. My day has finally come today, and I need no longer wait. My final work is not only for the sake of punishing man, but also for the sake of arranging the destination of man. Even more, it is for the sake of receiving acknowledgement from all for everything that I have done. I want each and every man to see that all I have done is right, and that all I have done is an expression of my disposition. It is not man's doing, least of all nature, that brought forth mankind. On the contrary, it is I who nourish every living being in creation. Without my existence, mankind will only perish and undergo the scourge of calamities. No human being will ever again see the beauteous sun and moon or the green world. Mankind shall encounter only the frigid night and the inexorable valley of the shadow of death. I am mankind's only salvation. I am mankind's only hope, and even more, I am he on whom the existence of all mankind rests. Without me, mankind will immediately come to a complete standstill. Without me, mankind will suffer catastrophe and be trodden down by all manner of ghosts, even though no one takes heed of me. I have done work that can be done by no other. My only hope is that man can repay me with some good deeds. Though those who can repay me are very few, I will still conclude my journey in the human world and begin the next step of my unfolding work, because all my rushing to and fro in man's midst these many years has been fruitful, and I am very pleased. What I care about is not the number of men, but rather their good deeds. In any case, I hope that you prepare a sufficiency of good deeds for your own destination. Then will I be satisfied. Otherwise, none of you shall escape the disaster that befalls you. The disaster originates with me and is of course orchestrated by me. If you cannot appear as good in my eyes, then you will not escape suffering the disaster. In the midst of tribulation, your actions and deeds were not considered entirely appropriate, for your faith and love were hollow, and you only showed yourselves to be either timid or tough. Regarding this, I will only make a judgment of good or bad. My concern continues to be the way in which each of you acts and expresses himself, on the basis of which I shall determine your end. However, I must make this clear. I will give no more mercy to those who gave me no jot of loyalty in times of tribulation, for my mercy only extends so far. Furthermore, I have no liking for anyone who has once betrayed me. Much less do I like to associate with those who sell out the interests of their friends. This is my disposition, regardless of who the person may be. I must tell you this. Anyone who breaks my heart shall not receive clemency from me a second time. And anyone who has been faithful to me shall forever remain in my heart.